It's
right.
great.
Good.
The recorder. Who has some positive things to talk about? Who had some real estate stuff happen today or this weekend?
Well, I did a Facebook ad with Peggy's house, like, I don't know, maybe 7 days ago.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I tried one maybe last month with one of Robin Consort's houses in Avalon. It was 5 something, and I might have gotten like 3 leads from it. And then I did one with Peggy's house that she had listed for 370 something. And the leads won't, like, they just keep coming more than I can keep up with. It's crazy. And they're not like, most of them are represented, but that's not the point. The point is like that it does generate a lot of leads.
Awesome. So tell us about the difference between those two properties real fast.
The price. So
the one that worked was what price?
The one that works better is the one that's in the 3s. It's 375. The one that was 5 something, it got a few leads, but not as many as the one that's 3 something, 375 or something like that.
Okay. In general, this is a huge generalization, but I'd say that high 3s, low 4s is probably like the golden space for most people right now. Mm-hmm. Because those are people that generally own homes that have appreciated and can not only sell that home and take profit off the table, but then they can go and translate that into a $500,000-$600,000 purchase, where oftentimes they're selling in a seller's market and buying in a buyer's market.
Right.
And that's actually fairly odd to be able to do so in the same generalized area. Okay, that's awesome. Good work. Who else? Who else got some positive news? Okay, let's move on to challenges. Who's got some challenges?
Well, I had my first buyer consultation.
How'd it go?
It went okay. I feel like I could have did better. I didn't have a lot of time to practice. I guess I wasn't prepared because I didn't have any anticipated business, I guess, so I didn't really prepare, and then it happened really fast. Like, she wanted to meet right away. She wanted to go look at something right away. And so I watched Sam's video on DocuSign, and I kind of uploaded all my documents into that.
Okay.
I feel like I might have missed a step, so I'm not really sure if it actually got emailed to her. I need to go back and check that out today.
Okay, so I got a couple takeaways from that. Number one is we never know when that opportunity is going to hit.
That's right.
Right. So I'm sure too. Keep learning. You never know when that opportunity is going to hit. So you got to have those packets ready. You got to be prepared, because with preparation comes the confidence that we talked about last week. And once you have the confidence, you speak different, you present yourself different, your body moves differently, your voice sounds different. So we want to make sure that if you've not had a buyer consultation or a listing consultation, pretend like you got one tomorrow and prepared today. So when that call comes, you're ready to rock. You're not unnecessarily delaying it so that you can prepare more. You're already ready to go. Okay, so did she agree to work with you? What's the status?
Yes, verbally she did, and she asked me when I would be sending the agreement over. I gave her a copy when we met, just so that she could read through it ahead of time.
Yeah.
In the packet that I gave her, as well as the purchase and sale agreement, I gave her that as well, so she'd have a chance to look through it.
Good.
So yeah, like I said, I uploaded it in Command and DocuSign yesterday, or I was creating it in there, and I emailed it to her, but I didn't receive any confirmation, and it didn't give me the chance to sign it first. So I'm not sure if I missed a step in Sam's video. I was kind of watching the video as I was doing it to make sure I was doing it correctly.
Right.
And I feel like I might have missed a step.
So whether you sign first or sign second doesn't matter so much.
Doesn't matter. Okay, good.
I mean, I always tended to sign first, but don't let that bog you down. Okay, but you can go back in and see what's been sent and what's been viewed, and you can call and say, hey, did you have any questions, anything you need help with, etc.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that today.
Okay, perfect. Okay, who read my email from yesterday?
I did.
Who else?
I did.
I read it.
Okay,
I
beautiful.
did not.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
is that helpful? What I'm trying to do is just kind of highlight some of the kind of main things we should be having in our mind, make sure we understand who we're supposed to be calling the following week, reminding you about a couple of the handouts that have been added to the Google Drive or that we've been stressing, remind you about the calendar and the different mastermind times. There have been a couple small changes in the last week or two, so make sure you pay real close attention to those. Did anyone have any questions from that? Okay, I want to make a couple comments about the tracking. Help me, there's not been a lot of people that have turned in their numbers for this past week, and there's also not been a whole lot of people that have recorded their goals for the 18th through today through the 24th. And we're still missing some people from the very first week in May. Level with me. What's going on?
So do you want the goals numbers to be turned in before the Zoom call on Monday?
That would be ideal, yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay. So ideally, those would be turned in prior prior to the call on Monday. I saw your message. I don't know. Did you send that to me privately? Look, if you don't work on a particular day, I don't want you to. I appreciate you letting me know. That way, I don't interfere with that. I don't work on Saturday. Totally respect that. In a perfect world, you just have them reported before the call on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you want our numbers through Sunday, that's not, it's like, I didn't work this Sunday, but
That's fine.
I don't
You wake
always
up Monday, just record the numbers.
Okay.
Okay. When you wake up Monday, just record the numbers. I do want to kind of comment about one thing in particular is I do see that a lot of people, I won't say anyone's name, but I do see that a lot of people don't have a goal to hold an appointment or don't have a goal to pin a contract. And that does concern me a little bit. And I know I think I know exactly where this is coming from, because when I was taking Bold before and when I had to report my numbers many years ago, I would say to myself, well, what do I know is going to happen? Like what is already pretty much on the books, right? Like I have an appointment on Wednesday and they'll probably sign, okay, so I can click one. Okay, well, I have 2 appointments on Thursday. They'll both probably sign, so I'll feel comfortable clicking 2, right? That's not really that's not the point of the exercise. If you don't have any pending appointments this week, then I don't want you to say to yourself, well, gosh, I guess that's a whole nother week before I pinned a contract and have a possibility of getting compensated. I want you to say, what in the world do I have to do this week so that I can not only get myself an appointment, but go on it and maybe even get some paperwork signed and maybe even put a buyer under contract. So if you go into the week without a goal of actually transacting business or getting paperwork signed, I don't believe that it puts you in the appropriate mindset. You basically resigned yourself to say, pretty much anything I do this week is going to be for next week. There's not a ton of urgency there. Does that make sense? So if you don't have any pending appointments this week, which pretty much makes it very difficult to feel comfortable putting down I'm going to pin a contract. And I get it. I've been there and I oftentimes am still there. But I want you to look at that and say, how can I go get myself an appointment right away and then help them know that I'm the one that needs to help them and they better get going and sell this house, right? Let's create some urgency. Okay. What's a couple of ways that we can create urgency? What's a couple of ways that we can create urgency in our calls this week?
Part of the urgency is just remembering your why. Staying focused on that, kind of readdressing that every morning, because that's the thing that kind of drives you and keeps you going. And then remembering also some of the bold laws that you have. That's your motivation. You kind of look, whatever it is, what's ever going on, that's what keeps you going. So those days where you're just like, I'm just too tired and I don't want to do it, you've got little reminders kind of everywhere. And that's what I'm starting to do. And I think, I don't remember who did it when I first started, said they would have it taped up everywhere after they were doing bold, or after they were doing I can't even think of the other class right now. And they just started where they'd open a cabinet and there would be a message there and there'd be something. So there was always something reminding them of their why. And that was what they needed to do. So I just started doing that. So I have it next to my tea bags, or I have it like in my cabinet, or I have it where I know I'm going to end up going daily. When my mind wanders, I have it down in the gym where it's like, all right, yes, do this, get your mind right. But by the way, here's your other why. That's a huge thing.
Are you comfortable sharing any part of that? Like maybe one of the messages that get you going?
It's just remember that you can do this. Don't, there's no, again, my thing was fear or faith,
Right.
you choose. And then just remember your kids, you're stronger than you think. Like it's those messages that keep me going. And it's always one more step. It's those little things for me that are keeping me going. And then my why has always been my kids and showing them that I'm stronger than I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I'm looking back through May, which is when we started kind of vocalizing our goals.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a single person, a single week that set a goal for 0 and then got one.
Right.
Which tells me that we've got to have something we're striving for. Right. If you're not quite ready to say, hey, I'm going to pin the deal this week, I get it. Why don't we start off with, I'm going to get myself in front of a buyer this week and have a legit appointment.
Right.
Legit seller and have a legit appointment. And then once you nail that, because you've been preparing and you practiced your scripts and you've been studying the market, et cetera, in the following week, we can say, all right, we're going to pin this deal, right? I just don't want you to go into the week with no goals.
Right. Yeah. Every week I always have a buyer's lead. Like I already have a number that I need to accomplish, that I want to accomplish because I'm a part of a team. The listing is something I don't necessarily have to do, but that is a challenge to me because I don't like doing listing presentations, but it's on there. So I still force myself no matter what. Now, if I don't do it, I don't, but I make sure that I always do it. So I've done one every week. But it's also part of it is nurturing ones that I've been nurturing since like November.
Yeah.
And I know that literally we're coming up on when they're starting to need to list their house. So I'm still doing that. I'm still trying to talking to them and saying, well, obviously, other people who are starting to sell in your neighborhood, and that's been helpful because that pushes me to still make sure that I'm hitting that one at least. So
I love that. And then what's going to happen is you're going to put 1 and maybe it'll creep up to 2 and then
exactly
it'll snowball because 2 people that you were flirting with back in December are ready to go.
Right.
And then you'll feel comfortable putting 3 up, and then you'll end up with 4. Then you'll feel comfortable putting 4 up. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Snowball. But think about this. Like the thought just popped into my head. What if I had a goal to have 0 appointments this week, and my supervisor, or boss, or whatever you want to call it, says, "Hey, what's your goal for the week?" And you're like, "I'm going to do nothing. I'm not going to move the needle at all to advance my career." Right? What if your kid asked you what your goal was this week? And you said, my goal is to have no appointments this week. right?
Yeah.
Remember, no pressure, no diamonds, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to go and edit your goals, feel free. I really, really don't want to see 0 on there. If you put 0, I'm going to call you, okay? And we're going to have a talk about how I can help you even more specifically. Okay?
So, Bill, where you have listings, are you referring to both types of appointments?
No, I'm
Sellers and
sorry.
buyers?
Yeah, let me clarify that. So let's start with total appointments set. That's buyer and seller. Total appointments held is buyer and seller. I could probably be a little bit more specific in this, but maybe this will serve the point. Is listing appointments held is seller listing appointments. I want you to focus on seller listings. Okay. And then listing appointments, I'm sorry, listing appointments held. I don't have listing appointments set in there. I just have listing appointments held, and listings taken, that's sellers. Okay, sellers. And then contracts written is essentially that is a green sheet. I'm sorry, my bad. Contracts written is essentially an offer. Okay. And then pendings is a green sheet. Okay, pendings is a green sheet. Units sold is when it actually closes, and GCI is the commission you earned for that. If you have a pending that happens in one week and then the following week it's still pending, that's not a new pending. These are just new things that occurred during this time period. Okay. Does that clarify that question?
Yes.
Okay. So I really want you guys to focus on the leading indicators, which is how many phone calls do I have to make and love on people to be connected with somebody who is interested in selling their home. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Let's review the calendar really quickly, and then we will move on to the next topic. Who has some questions in the meantime? Anybody? Okay. Today.
Virtual.
I'm sorry?
Virtual. Anyone who has good creative ideas for a virtual open house. If you could send me a YouTube link, because what I'm finding I'm not happy with, this would be great, because I'm going to a 1.3 million house to do this tomorrow. And I'm literally having a heart attack. Just saying that and being truthful.
Right. So I'll give you kind of the first thing that popped into my mind.
Yeah.
Is the type of person that buys a $1.3 million house. It's, I don't want to say this isn't the case with all buyers, but it feels like it's probably more the case. It's lifestyle.
Right. Because it's on the lake.
Oh yeah. I mean, so you want to really think who is the buyer for this property.
Yeah.
Right. They may be some type of executive. They may have, be concerned with where the really fancy restaurants are. They may be concerned with, it's a luxury type person, right? Where,
really like the fish,
boating, all kinds of stuff, right?
Right.
So swim, tennis, clubs, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yes, if anyone has seen some cool virtual tours, let's post them on the page today, so that can help us all. Okay. All right. Today we have the Emerging Mastermind. The Emerging Mastermind is today. That's from 4 to 10 units per year. If you are there, please come and let's talk about things that are most important to you. That is from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, I've been doing a class called Discover Coaching that is basically 10 steps to 6 figures. Everyone is more than welcome to join that today. That is kind of a combination of, it's kind of like the vast majority of the Keller Williams curriculum that I am aware of, from 6 personal perspectives to the one thing, to MREA, to Quantum Leap, all of these kind of concepts kind of melded into one. So that is an hour that starts at 1 o'clock. That, by the way, is a good opportunity if somebody is interested in learning more about coaching, or kind of getting an idea about some of the concepts we talk about in this group. That would be a good place to invite them. I have heard a little bit of chatter in the group about people that are at other companies, and how do we get exposure to them, and is there anything we can do to help them? Heather and I and Aubrey and Kathy Ray did this maybe a month or so ago, where Heather had a pretty big database of people that she took real estate school with, and we got a handful of them together, and we kind of gave the 3 different perspectives of Keller Williams, or for really Roswell. One was Aubrey talking about lead generation techniques, and kind of came from the team leaders place, if you will. Kathy Ray talked a lot about the what an agent mentor does, and I talked a little bit about the productivity coaching program. That is something, and it doesn't have to be that exact format, but I know that we would all be willing to do that again. If you have people like Andrew, I think you mentioned this, and Miranelli mentioned this, if you have people that are at other firms that you have relationships with that have never experienced any form of coaching, or any talk of goals or models or plans or any of that, let's get them together in a Zoom, and we'll do a basic economic model and start to show them how some of these tools can help them move their business forward, okay? So that is from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock today. I will keep this room open, and I'll be back in here to generate leads at about 9:35 or so. Who listened to the Bold call on Friday? Tell me what you learned. That was the best one so far, I thought. You're on mute, Kim.
I'm just being honest, Bill. Seriously, I had so much going on. I can't even remember what happened on the call on Friday. You had to jog my memory a little.
It was just, the fourth session. So they're going through their curriculum, and Cody Gibson, who runs the largest expansion team in the country, was one of the presenters. I mean, he is just sharp, man. He is sharp, and he just had so many good things to say. One thing that I really liked, a comment he made, it kind of slipped. It was hard to catch, but he said, I want to make sure that we change our language around business. We don't get business, okay? We earn business. Getting business sounds like it's happenstance, and it's luck, and it's random, right? I got a listing today. No, you earned that listing, okay? You either initiated the conversation, or you initiated the conversation that led to a referral, or you were professional and prepared enough to transition that into a business opportunity when it came to you, right? So you earned that listing. Or by chance, somebody just randomly called you and said, hey, come list me. You earned that because you've been a great person in your life, and you've earned a reputation as somebody who can handle that, okay? So what I want you to do is don't use the word get, use the word earn, okay? Because we've earned the opportunities and the businesses that we have right now. We've earned that. Nobody handed it to us, okay?
I did actually watch that, and there's still stuff that I'm really still writing down.
Yeah.
Like I loved his Mindshare calendar, so I'm trying to utilize that more in my journaling, which to me is huge, along with my weekly calendar of goal setting. The 3 P's: personalization, God, I cannot speak this morning. Pervasiveness and permanence.
Yeah.
I think for me, those are the things that kind of really stuck with my mindset and resonated with where I'm at. Along with, I loved, was it that one where there's just, goodness, there's times where he talked about his children, and sometimes he would have his daughter like sneak up under, and she's literally grabbing his leg trying to get the attention, and you know, this is just where you're at right now. And there's got to be some forgiveness and some boundaries, and just people are all in that same boat right now also. So there's this, I don't know, there was this element of this
You
is
got to
where
give
we're at
grace.
right now. There's,
You got to give grace.
exactly, grace. Thank you. That's the word. And I
Yeah.
loved that. Like, I'm glad that none of you guys heard, but that my oldest my youngest just walked in there and was like, people eat dogs. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I was not on, you know, on mute, but no one heard. And I just started laughing, but it is what it is. And we're all
That's
there.
right.
So, yeah.
He said unreasonable goals require unreasonable activity.
Right.
Does anyone have a goal to make more money than they've ever made in their life right now?
Well, yeah,
Okay, you're going to have to do unreasonable activity.
exactly.
You're going to have to work differently than you've ever worked. Simple
And
as that.
that's the pressure into the diamonds.
That's right. We don't choose our future, we choose our habits, and our habits choose our future. Right?
I have a question, Bill.
What's that?
I have a question. Just so back in February, around when the COVID thing was about to start, I guess, I had a client, and he had reached out to me. Well, actually, we had met. He was wanting to list one property. He has two, and he had one in Duluth. He was going to let me list, and then he forgot to message me back, and I kind of forgot about it. I should have had it written down and kept in contact with him. But then I went back through all my texts, and I messaged him like last week, and I didn't hear back from him. And then but I finally heard back from him last night. And he said, pretty much, you know, he forgot to get back to me, but he was prepared to list his home back in February, but now he is undecided. But he did say, "Thank you for following up. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If I do decide to sell the house, I will send you a message."
Okay.
I mean, I'm curious to why he's undecided now.
You know how to find out?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a smart ass. You just got to ask him.
Okay.
Come from the heart. Just
Straight
ask
up.
him the questions, because more than likely he's responding to fear.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what we do is we calm fear, and we calm fear by data.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reality of what's going on in the marketplace today. Okay. And that comes from knowing your FMLS stats. That comes from having a couple statistics that you can put right back out at them if necessary. Right. That comes from studying the agent pivot scripts that are in the Google Drive. Read through those 5 times before you call that guy back. Okay.
Okay.
Because more than likely, he still has a desire to sell that home. Your job is to extract that from him.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I wanted to just share one more thing before we close today. 2 more things, actually. They said that the higher the producer or the higher the performer, the more they talked about lead generation. The lower the performer or producer, the more they talked about problems. Okay. The higher the performer, the more they talked about lead generation, action, activity, moving forward. The lower the producer, the more they talked about problems, which is the past and the current situation. Okay. So what they can control is the future, lead gen. What they cannot control is COVID. Okay. All right, last idea. This idea of picking up the wallet. Did you guys hear that on the bold call?
Yes. But
Okay,
I don't
so let's say I'm walking down the street and Shauna's behind me and I drop my wallet. She's more than likely going to go out of her way to chase me down to tell me that I lost my wallet and give it back to me, right?
Yes.
Because that's value. She's sharing value. She's going to retrieve my wallet and share it back with me, right? So if I was on a telephone call when that happened and she wants to share that value, do you think she would care that I was on the call, or would she just get the wallet to me? She would just get the wallet to me, right? And the person, me, would I prefer to stay on the call uninterrupted or get my wallet back that I didn't even know I lost? I'd rather have the wallet, right? So it's this idea of when you have value to share, you don't have to be worried about whether you're interrupting somebody. It's in their best interest to listen to what you've got to share.
True.
Okay. So I want you to think about that as you're making your calls today, particularly if you're calling strangers, is that your job is to calm the fear, right? Your job is to take the data of what's going on in the real estate world and how there is business being done day in and day out and day in and day out. And they will be able to work more strategically and hit their financial goals better if they have the consult and the calm from you. Does that make sense? So now you got to make sure you're sharing value. Okay. And again, that comes from the research, the prep, the study of the scripts, the attitude, the reminders, that kind of thing. Okay. All right. I'm going to put everything on hold for a moment. I'll be back in about half an hour. Please either update your goals, fill in your actuals, catch up through all the tabs of May. Guys, if we would just do this without me having a bag, we could spend more time pouring into you, okay? Also, don't forget, be in touch with your accountability partners as frequently as possible and push each other to record your goals and no zeros, okay?
Okay.
All right. See you in a few.